Hello, everyone. I'm back. Where have I been? What have I done? Who are you, the cops? What's with the questions? What's with the fourth degree, fifth degree? I don't know the term. Anyway, good old road trips, full of promise and ripe with potential for adventure, soul-searching, and incredible scenery. Or at least, that's what you thought, before the novelty wore thin. As of now, your legs are cramping up. You've exhausted your travel playlist 2 times over, and your stomach is begging for something to eat. On top of all that, you're pretty sure you're lost. Driving through Oregon paints a picture of trees, and more trees, especially on the endless winding roads that you're taking up north. All that breaks the pattern is a sign that zips past, with words that you're just able to make out. Gravity Falls. That's right, bastards. We're playing Gravity Falls. Swooning over stands. It's a Grunkle Stan dating simulator. Don't click away. Don't click away. We're in this together, dudes. I missed you. Now, come with me on this wonderful adventure. The road continues on, giant redwoods looming on both sides. You find yourself anticipating something, because as you drive on, you can feel it. Something strange is bound to happen here. Something weird. And that's when it happens. Your car picks up speed. The change came out of nowhere, and you quickly put your foot on the breakers, but horrifyingly, the car seems to be driving on its own willpower. Trying to stay calm despite the panic welling in your chest, you pull the emergency brake only to find that car resists and keeps moving forward, like something is pulling it. The car begins to rattle, the wheels screech against the country road, and you're screaming until... My. That's a nicely painted background. There's smoke. Why is there smoke? You cough, fumble for the door, fumble, and manage to undo the lock just before the door is wrenched outward from your grasp. Something lands on your shoulder. A hand. Are you alright? A man stands at your open car door, his hand on your shoulder leaves to tilt your head up. And he pulls a flashlight from his coat, shining it in your eyes. 2 blinks and he lets your chin go. Oh, baby. His eyes dart over the rest of you, looking for injuries. Or boobies. Still stunned, all you do is watch. What's your name? Type in your name, regular person. No. I'm an extraordinary individual. Oh, fuck, it doesn't fit. I'm just gonna say extraordinary. And my pronouns, I love that in a game. Thank you very much. Let's see. Let's go with she, her for now. Extraordinary. I'm Stanford Pines. Ford for short. I would shake your hand, but you look shaken up enough as it is. That's a fantastical joke. Would you like to suck my... You seem fine as far as I can tell, but you shouldn't head back out there anytime soon. Where on earth were you driving in such a hurry? You open your mouth to explain when a voice calls from inside the house. Poindexter, this better not be one of your experiments again. I've had this place rebuilt too many times to... The owner of the voice walks out of the house and stops, slack-jawed, at the sight of your car and the sight of, you're guessing, his house. I would try to do one of their voices, but I can't. And why would I embarrass myself like that? You must have hit your head earlier, because you could swear you're seeing double. Sweet Moses, Ford, you've done it this time. What? This had nothing to do with me. I was testing my magnet gun and... It must have pulled this victim of circumstance into the house. I suppose it is entirely my fault. I'm incredibly sorry. Oh, do I reassure him, myself, or cry? He fucked up my car, bro. Like, I'm either gonna cry or reassure myself. Let's reassure myself and see how that goes. I can't believe this. My car? What's going on? Who are these men? Why did this have to happen to you? Everything's going to be fine. I'm gonna get through this. Hey, look, it's fine, alright? Sure, there's a dent in the hood from the shack's signage and a crack in the windshield that looks like an ominous triangle, but I'm sure she'll still run. Uh-oh. You tried to start up the car. It sputters, but ultimately nothing happens. You feel like crying. Oh. Well, let's call a tow truck for this unfortunate soul here and forget. I'll take care of it. You're right, it is cheaper to tow it yourself. Sixer, get that magnet gun out again. Listen, as I read this, I hear their voices so clearly in my mind, so just imagine with me, okay? Just, let's suspend our disbelief for a second and imagine that the voices in our head when we read this are the voices that are also coming out of my mouth, as if I were good at voice acting. No, Stanley, I'm going to fix this. What? Ha! You? Fix this mess? I've figured out a few alien vehicles in my time. Nah, you kidding me? It'd take some sort of miracle worker to bring this baby back to life, and this miracle worker is on vacation. Stanley, a moment. Ford and Stanley turn away and you're left to your thoughts. Who could anticipate a car accident like this in the middle of the road trip? You can take care of the car, but how are you going to get home? They run buses out here, right? So you take a bus out of here and then... Ford clears his throat, shifting a little awkwardly in place. Seems like they finished their talk. So there are a few options. My brother Stanley here could drive you out to town to find a place to stay for the night, or you could stay the night here. We have some maps and information. You can look at the gift shop, and in the morning we can help you with your car. What do you say? Just as you're about to answer, another high-pitched voice comes from inside the house. Oh, Grunkle Stan, picture this, a whole week of, oh my gosh! Oh, you're shitting me! This is like during their stay. The girl that runs out of the house comes to a halt at the sight of your car. Oh, great. Grunkle Ford? Why is it that everyone automatically thinks I'm at fault? Well, this time it is my fault, but I've invited Extraordinary here to stay with us for the night. If she'd like, I'm sure I can fix this. I just have to figure out how. Stanley sighs. I can take a look. Being on vacation's pretty boring. And the old Stanmobile hasn't needed a tune-up yet, so it wouldn't be too bad to work on something in the meantime. Thank you, Stanley. I'm sure I could put something together from the gadgets I have lying around here if you need any specialized tools to help you with the job. And let me introduce myself. I'm Mabel. You can ask me anything. I'm pretty much know everything there is to know about this place. Wait, hold on. I haven't even said anything yet. I appreciate your offer to let me stay. And to repair your car. Yeah, it'll be as good as new in my hands. I mean, look at my Stanmobile. She's been through the ringer and who knows how many times, and she'll still a beaut. He points out a red car parked a distance away. You can't really see how beautiful it is at this distance, but he sounds really confident. Well, this turn of events is fortuitous or suspicious. I'm gonna say fortuitous. Y'all kids need a fortuitous. Free repairs, free lodging, there's no better deal to be found. And if things don't work out, the town probably has some sort of auto repair shop you can head to instead. Well, I accept. Thanks for the help. And my apologies again. What an embarrassment. I must have made such an elementary mistake. As the Pines leads you inside the house, Mabel leaves her number in your phone for you to call whenever, and you find out that Ford's twin goes by Stan. This part's the house, but just outside that door's the mystery shack. Hey, you haven't been to the mystery shack before? I wanted to, actually. I saw a bumper sticker while I was on the road and got curious. You're interrupted by a loud, triumphant, "Ha!" Those bumper stickers were a good investment, and Sixer says they're too plain and graphically simplistic, and don't even have an address on them, Stanley. How is anyone supposed to find the place to attract customers? Sixer, did you hear that? Well, they are graphically simplistic. I don't know how she found the place, let alone thought what is the Mystery Shack was compelling. I kinda liked it. See? She kinda liked it. Hey, I like you, Extraordinary. How about I give you a tour sometime tomorrow? Regular price. Tomorrow? Then I'll have to squeeze all my get-to-know-you questions in today. Extraordinary, tell me, capybara, yes or no? At that moment, a boy passes in the hallway at the far doorway and Ford calls out to him. Dipper, my boy, I'm surprised I didn't see you run out to the scene of the crime. Crime? What crime? I have an alibi, Oh, you have someone with you. I'm not suspicious at all. Did you guys see that car on the side of the shack, though? For a second, I thought the Manitors were back with a grudge. Yes. About that, Dipper, me Extraordinary. I've, stranded her car here by accident. She's staying here for the time being. Sorry, stranded her car here? You crashed it? Yeah, the acid shack fell on it and everything. And the windows are cracked. One window, the windshield. And Extraordinary was lucky to make it out alive. She's fine, no injuries, thankfully. The magnet gun's rather safe, despite never having been tested in a normal setting. Sheesh. Did you not, take safety precautions or anything? Actually, the irony of the situation is that I was trying to install a safety precaution. Hey, if you two are gonna do your nerd talk, I'm gonna get Extraordinary set up. Mabel, sweetie, why don't you show Extraordinary around? Let her stay in, the storage room. That's still empty, right? I'll make it empty. God, I love all of these characters. The rest of the day consists of Mabel showing you the storage room you'll be staying in, then the kitchen and the living room, and the hallway, and the bathroom, and, pretty much a comprehensive tour of the mundanities of a regular house. Eventually, you find out that the family is even more extended than you know. The decorative doilies make a lot more sense knowing that a grandmother normally lives here, and her grandson, Zeus. Or was it Zeus? Whatever the name. You look forward to meeting him when he comes to work in the morning. When you go up to the attic, Mabel opens up the door to reveal Dipper, nose stuck in his book, but you catch him occasionally glancing up at you as he pretends to read. The next member of the family snorts up at you from Mabel's bed, a rotund pink pig, who Mabel declares is her best friend and partner in crime, Waddles. The two are a perfect match, right down to the chubby cheeks and boopable noses. And in the evening, though you'd still been in disbelief over the state of your car, the family, dinner, and after-dinner TV marathon you'd be invited to made it seem like a normal guest stay rather than a forced circumstance. Returning to the storage room Mabel had shown you earlier, you find an air mattress waiting for you, and more pillows and sheets than a summer night warrants. I really love the details in this. It's so well made, dude. And the little triangle up in the window. Ooh, a little bill. You wake up to the weak glare of sunlight streaming in through the small, high window in the wall. You can't remember your room having this kind of feature, or any hotel or motel room for that matter. And then yesterday comes crashing back at you. I really love the box that says souvenirs, and then the box that says cursed artifacts. You glance at the time to see that you've slept into this afternoon. Experiencing the accident yesterday must have tired you out. Despite being assured yesterday evening that you were free to anything in the fridge, you still feel like you're imposing on the Pines family and try preparing as a polite guest breakfast as you can. You wash your dishes in the sink before you leave. And just as you're about to exit the kitchen, you bump into Ford, the Hodder brother. Excuse, yes, from yesterday, of course. For a good solid moment, Ford regards you in awkward silence. Ford clears his throat. I believe Stanley's taking a look at your car outside, if you want to be there for it. You give a nod and make leave for real this time when Ford speaks up again. And Extraordinary, I'm sorry again for the accident. If I'd been smarter about, well, let's just say it's entirely my fault and you shouldn't worry about this at all. When it comes down to it, Stanley does have a knack for cars. I predict you'll be back on the road in a matter of weeks. Weeks? You can't keep the dismay off your face, and can't really bring yourself to try to either. What am I gonna do with weeks? Ford, who'd gone kind of uncomfortable and closed off when your face fell, recovers at the prospect of a question he can answer. Well, there is the town to tour, of course, and the mystery shack. But if you ask me, that all pales in comparison to... hold on, do you hear that? Ford turns to the kitchen door to investigate. Sounds like... The sound comes again, and this time you hear it as well. The squeal of a pig, followed by a pair of quick footsteps running down the stairs. Waddles tumbles past the open kitchen doorway and Mabel comes into view soon after, a few sheets of paper clutched in hand. Ford steps quickly out of the kitchen and you follow to the doorway, getting there just in time to see an apparent tug-of-war between Mabel and her pig over a saliva-covered sheet of paper. These background paintings are incredible. The paper rips, and after nearly toppling backward from her efforts, Mabel recovers, snatching the scrap of ripped paper from Waddle's jaws and lifting both pieces up victoriously. Ha ha! Mabel wins again! Now I just gotta find Grunkle Ford! Ford, who'd run forward and held a hand out to steady his energetic child when she'd been in danger of toppling over, now finds a number of crumpled sheets of paper shoved into his hands. Mabel tugs urgently at his coat. Grunkle Ford, you have got to help me. Ford kneels down to face Mabel with a serious though concerned look. Slow down, Mabel. What's the matter? Dipper found a stack of pages from your old journals, and I walked in and Waddles ran up and started eating one, and he must have been chewing on it to warn me, Grunkle Ford, because look! Mabel takes the ripped half of the paper back from Ford's hand and joins them together, holding it up for Ford to see. I see. And you took it as a warning? Yes, it says here it eats small dogs, and Waddles is a small pig, but he sort of looks like a dog from far away, and Waddles must have feared for his life. Waddles seems to second this notion with a snort. Or not, as it seems the pig is lounging adorably a short distance away in the hallway. I cannot believe we're not getting a picture of Waddles. You can't imagine what this dangerous predator could be. Some kind of wolf? Something bigger? You're suddenly not so keen on staying anymore. Remember the pterodactyl I told you about? Waddles was so scared that time. I can't let him leave my side. Pterodactyl? I suppose pigs are allowed in museums around here. How about I finish that repellent I never got around to completing? That'll keep Waddles safe from harm. Mabel flops down on the floor in relief. Grunkle Ford, you are an actual lifesaver. Waddles, you have nothing to fear. Ford chuckles, lifting himself out of the kneel and standing back up. Alright, I'll go get my recipe. Ford turns to leave, and you suddenly remember that with nothing better to do for the weeks you're going to be here, it wouldn't hurt to get to know Ford. He seems to know what there is to do around town anyway, and you need that to not die of boredom in the first week. Or more pressingly, you could go check on your car and see what Stan made of it so far. You're not exactly eager to face seeing your car in the side of the house again, though. What should you do? Listen, I see an opportunity to get to know a six-fingered man. I take it. Ford, wait, need a hand with that recipe? I can handle it myself. Are you sure you couldn't use a hand? Ford looks away, then, as you follow his averted line of sight to Mabel, who's just mouthed something you can't catch. When she catches you looking her way, Mabel gives you a 100-watt smile, the picture of innocence. Ford rubs the back of his neck. Yes, I suppose I can accept some help. And with that, assured that Ford is on the task, you spot Mabel rolling away with Waddles into the living room. Before we get started, I suppose I should give you an introduction. Extraordinary, tell me, do you believe in the supernatural? Oh, baby, I want to. Well, you're about to come face to face with the unexplainable yourself. You see, Gravity Falls isn't some quiet, unassuming backwater town. Much more lurks below its surface. Ford pockets those crumpled journal papers and gestures for you to join him as he walks. You do, and follow him through the living room and into the gift shop. For example, you must have heard Mabel mention a pterodactyl. Most would say none exist in the living world today, but I say, not if you know where to look. If anyone else told you this, you'd be disinclined to believe them, but the authority Ford carries is seriously, surprisingly compelling. Ford reaches under the cashier counter and retrieves a packet of vintage-looking gum, inspecting it for a moment before slipping it in his pocket. He looks around in thought. Hold on to my explanation for the moment. I need to retrieve some more supplies. Ford ushers you out of the gift shop entrance so that you find yourself on the outside of the shack, then shuts the door behind you. Okay. Respect the man's privacy. He's clearly got business in that gift shop. Turn and try to peer through the window. I'm gonna respect his privacy and possibly look around. You correctly and politely just stand out here until Ford returns. You maybe scan the sky for a pterodactyl while you wait. Not too long after, the door opens behind you and Ford joins you outside, looking no different than before. He must have stored whatever supplies he went to retrieve in his coat, but the trench coat falls too naturally on his figure for him to be hiding much. Where were we? Ah, yes. Ford pulls a pen and a pad of paper from his coat, walking as he writes. Just as you're about to head out, he stops and smacks his hand to his face. Oh shoot, 1 second. Ford hurries back to the house, realizing he forgot one important component to his adventure. A butterfly net. Before you get the chance to ask, he strides out ahead of you, obviously in no mind to tell you what it's for quite yet. The pair of you walk past the shack and down a well-worn path into the trees surrounding the house, sunlight peeking between the pines. He double-checks whatever he scribbled onto the paper and tucks it back into one of his coat's seemingly infinite pockets. He stops and turns to face you with a definitive nod. My recipe for repellent called for a sprig of lavender, 2 thin slices of ginseng, a drop of bat blood, a chunk of amber, and 3.5 milliliters of ink. He pauses, staring down at the path in thought. Obviously, I already have all these components on hand, all except for one ingredient. A single moth's wing. From Mothman itself. Oh, shit! You can't help it, you gasp. Ford glances at you, and you think you see a hint of a smile before he turns back to the path and continues along, wind ruffling through his hair. You see, Mothman is the very creature on that page that Waddles seems to fear, using a piece of itself should ward it away, or at least lead it to believe that Waddles isn't for eating. I would already have completed the repellent years ago if I had managed to collect that wing. Was it too difficult? Oh, I just never got around to it. Besides, Mothman used to combat his lamp I had lit out in the backyard. It seemed like such an innocent hobby that I never had the heart to chase it off. But if this brings Mabel and her pig peace of mind, then the time has come to finish this. Sunlight filters in through the trees, causing dappled shadows across Ford's coat as he leads in front of you. Break the silence. Ooh. I'm gonna ask him how he knows so much. I study anomalies, anything unusual, strange, and just plain weird. I began my research in this town because it was and remains a hotbed of paranormal activity. I made this exact trip years ago, though at the time I had no idea where I was going. It was just dumb luck that I managed to tail Mothman back to his cave from my backyard. Navigating the forest by moonlight is poetic, but not advisable. I made plenty of other discoveries as well, from fairies to gnomes to amalgams of creatures who were never meant to cross to... Oh wait! Ford reaches into his pocket and pulls out the slightly crumpled pages Mabel had pushed into his hand earlier, smoothing them out and shuffling through them. Take a look at these. They're more definitive proof than just my word. You accept the pages from him and find they're scanned pages from some sort of journal. Just as you heard Mabel say, fluid cursive tells of Mothman, bead cubs, scamp fires, and more. Ford gestures to them and explains. I detailed my discoveries in a series of research journals, the remaining pages at least. I wonder where Stanley was keeping these. You drew these. Were any of the creatures dangerous? You must have gotten up to some pretty crazy stuff back then. Yes, of course. Who else? Ooh. Ooh, give an ambiguous nod of acknowledgement. I've seen better. Your line work is so photorealistic. These ink washes look so masterfully executed. My work is now far better, but I appreciate the compliment. Despite his understated words, Ford looks surprisingly pleased. Ooh. Oh! What? Oh, okay. I accidentally moved back. Never mind. Were any of these creatures ever dangerous? Oh, extremely. Some were worse, dangerously annoying. Though Ford seems to find his own comment amusing, he doesn't fail to notice your unease. I do have weapons in case things escalate, so there's no need to worry. You brought weapons? Not many. I have a stun gun, my fists, and my sharp wit. I feel safer already. You didn't bring your magnet gun? Ooh. Must have gotten up to some pretty crazy stuff back then. It's one way to put it. Only took 6 years for me to get in over my head. He takes a silent moment to look away from your gaze, seemingly in bittersweet remembrance. You didn't bring your magnet gun? I thought it would be prudent to leave its magnetic fields alone for a while until I have time to optimize it. You see, I was trying to widen the area of magnetic influence, but it's been a while since I last worked with the gun. I needed to refamiliarize myself with its inner workings. My guess is I switched the wrong wire or two instead of narrowed the beam. I'd like to see how it works sometime. Really? You know, if you're interested in devices like that, my old research colleague, Fiddleford, would have more to show you. He's the engineering genius around here. I'm gonna ask him about the creatures. Ooh, fuck. Let's hear that Mothman turns into a bunch of moths, gnomes, pterodactyl, a leprechaun. Oh my god, this is so cool. I know, like, none of this is canon. I don't know, it's canon to me. Okay, I love this show. Okay, I guess I'm gonna try from the top. Yes, that's how we'll get that moth wing. Then why not use mothballs as repellent? Well, I've never tried. Could the most conventional method be the unconventional one? Or would Mothman be able to overcome its mossy nature and persist? You mentioned gnomes? Other places have rats, mice, or insects as house pets. We have gnomes. Picture a typical garden gnome, but more disturbing. This is so cool, dude. Will we catch a sight of the pterodactyl? I doubt we'll spot it today, but perhaps we can go bird watching later if you're interested. Oof. Bird watching. What about the leprechaun? Ford groans. You wait for a further answer, but that's it. Okay, bro. There are floating eyeballs here? Sounds disconcerting, doesn't it? I once released them in my house by accident and found eyeballs in the most unsuspecting of places for months. My guests chose not to comment on my choice of house decor. And Gravity Falls is home to giant vampire bats? Giant fruit bats, actually. They were among the first to teach me not to judge a creature by its reputation. I only realized they were harmless once I'd been bitten by one. Oh no, that still sounds pretty bad. It actually healed quite fast. I attribute that to the health kick I was on soon after. Okay, and last one, Agram Goblin or something. A rare specimen that I've since steered clear of when accompanied by others. Though if you want to see one in person, I'm sure it wouldn't hurt to walk into that situation again for the sake of education. Okay, well... Agram Goblin. I guess we're gonna walk in silence. Suddenly, Ford puts an arm out in caution, slowing his pace. You narrowly manage not to collide into him and take a quick glance around to see... nothing? Look, there! You see what looks like a bundled up plaid shirt moving along the forest floor. Wait, is that a beaver tail? Looks like... For fuck's sake! A platypus! What are you doing all the way out here? Don't you mean a platypus? Ford shakes his head with a grin. I meant what I said. It's a platypus. A platypus. Ford moves into a crouch but stays at a respectable distance, following the small creature. You watch him and after a moment mimic his actions. Ford's giving the creature a bright smile, the first of its kind that you've seen since leaving Mabel at the shack. You're a cute one, aren't you? And in one of my favorite patterns, too. Ford motions you to move forward a little more, to the distance he's maintaining. If I were to rate the oddities that live in this forest on a scale at least to most annoying, these little guys would get immunity. They have done nothing wrong and I appreciate them for it. As the two of you watch in quiet appreciation, the platypus ambles into the underbush and vanishes from view. What a cute little guy. Okay guys, I think I'm gonna leave this first video here. I am going to play this entire thing. I don't give a shit. I'm so invested. I wanna frick afford, dude. And yeah, it's really good to be back. I look forward to editing this and posting it, and hopefully you guys will see it tonight, the day it's been recorded, because I frankly have nothing better to do with my time now. So, yeah, if you enjoyed this video, if you want to see more, if you want to show some support, whichever, it would still mean a lot if you left a like. And I'll see you guys super soon with the next part of the intriguing Stan storyline. So, thank you so much for watching and hanging out, and I'll see you super soon. Bye for now.